into my consciousness. That's how I came in contact with him. And so I'm going to present. When is the date for the
20th, 20 Sunday, October 20. Yeah.
October 20. We're going to do a reading from his play. Possibly, if you get me a white actress, I want to do it a Dutchman. I have a black man, but you can't find. I can't even take the gentrifiers to So please help me out if you know. But at least if I would like folks, who would like to read the play and be directed by me. Although it's reading, I'll direct you like I'm doing a feature film.
You should contact me.
Who?
Yeah,
You got a contact?
Okay, we'll talk. Let's talk. Anyway, the other one I'm going to do is going to surprise you. Brian, you'll be very interested. How many of you know Baraka wrote a play on Sidney Poitier?
No.
You do?
Sidney Poitier.
Huh?
Sidney Poitier, right?
No, Sydney.
That's the
Heroic.
name of
I think
Yeah.
because you mentioned it last
The title. Yeah, you mentioned it last week. You know it. How old are you?
22.
All right.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I come from theater since 50 years, from Chicago Goodman to UCLA. I never knew he wrote a play on Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
I wish I did. I would have made him happy adopting it into a film. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful take. He's amazingly
Yeah.
bulleting through Sidney Poitier's contradiction of stereotype Negro.
Yeah.
But I want somebody, not an actor, a show-off actor. I need a reader for that play, a person who knows, jazz, because it's written like a jazz
Right.
play. And so if you're interested, you're a poet, you want to read his play, I'll direct you to my wish, but still you will contribute and bringing whatever you can bring to it, okay? So please help me. Now, Brian, when we planned this, okay, Brian and our family here, Sankova, we go a long way. When we're in trouble is when we look for him. When we're looking for a free lawyer.
Hey, yeah.
And I'm going to tell him, when my wife went to Guinea, Conakry, before Kwame died, filming him, she's still trying to do the film. If you're interested in Kwame's life in that world, she has a film she shot when he was about passing, and the airlines kept stealing our camera.
Wow.
The camera she went on with was stolen from the airport.
Wow.
Then I shipped her counter to counter from Dallas Airport, another camera, stolen again.
What?
But then she just used any camera and shot and came with it. And so I went to a brother I knew. He was in the movement, with fist up. And I said, I want you to represent us. We're going to sue. My wife and me, Shurikan and me went and said, we want to sue these airlines.
Yeah.
Can you help us? He says, my brother, and he went to school with him at Howard.
Yeah.
And it's at Howard we're meeting. He says, my brother, I'll be very happy, but I need a retainer's fee. And I said, what is that? I never knew about retainer because I thought black people should just serve. And I never paid myself as a filmmaker. So what is he talking about? Anyway, he said $5,000. I said, we need that for film. Why would I pay you? And then I said to him, you know what? I came from Africa, and Kwame means a lot to me. You went to school with him at Howard at the height of the struggle.
Right.
And you do not want to commit yourself to your brother? Get the heck. My wife had to follow because I just cursed the tail out of the guy. That's the black Betty bourgeois. Now we're seeing more of this contradiction flare up. So my favorite man for us to bail us out every time we're in trouble. Where's Brian?
Gilmore.
Where's Brian? Gilmore. But then what did Gilmore do? At one point he disappeared, escaped town. So I don't know where he went. And then one time I was showing a film in Lansing, Michigan. He
He
appears.
showed up.
I said, "What are you doing in the Snow White planet?" A Norwegian community, lost in this Dutch and Norwegian community. So that's what I found him, and I was happy that they run him out of town. White folks run him out of town, and he came back to these chocolate city. And so when we were thinking of Baraka's commemoration, he was in my head and I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
So thanks to this brother in the front, he shouldn't sit in the front. He's gonna cover you if we show you a movie. But it so happened we don't. Every time we show a movie, this bald head man covers, especially the African subtitle movies. So I'm going to give him a note and give him a nice, like Emperor Haile Selassie kind of chair in the back. So anyway, he hooked me up, and I'm very grateful, my brother, because we finally got the right guy for this event. Brian, for me, is a decent, progressive, not only just political, but a human. Okay, whoa. He's a human. He's political. He's a resistor, a fighter with human face.
There you go.
And that's sometimes what we lack. Seriously, open politics blinds the human aspect of us. He never abandons his humanity. And thank you, my brother, for rescuing us, coming to this stuff. And I hear now, I give you the floor. I give you the floor, then hug you in front of people. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
And thank everybody for coming out for this poetry libation at Sankofa for Amiri Baraka. And as appropriate, I'll start with the words of Amiri Baraka and then read you the list of the people who will make remarks, read poetry. But this is Amiri Baraka poem for Black Hearts. For Malcolm's eyes, when they broke the face of some dumb white man. For Malcolm's hands raised to bless us, all black and strong in his image of ourselves. For Malcolm's words, fire darts, the victor's tireless thrust, words hung above the world, change as it may. He said it, and for this he was killed, for saying and feeling and being change, all collected hot in his heart. For Malcolm's heart, raising us above our filthy cities, for his stride and his beat and his address to the gray monsters of the world. For Malcolm's pleas for your dignity, black men, for your life, black men, for the filling of your minds with righteousness, for all of him dead and gone and vanished from us, and all of him which clings to our speech, black God of our time. For all of him and all of yourself, look up, black man, quit stuttering and shuffling. Look up, black man, quit whining and stupid. For all of him, for great Malcolm, a prince of the earth, let nothing in us rest until we avenge ourselves for his death. Stupid animals that killed him, let us never breathe a pure breath if we fail, and white men call us faggots to the end of the earth. So tonight we're going to celebrate the words and life of Amiri Baraka as the poet, writer, activist, artist from Newark, New Jersey, born Everett Leroy Jones, 1934. And we have an outstanding list of poets and artists for you. Many of them I know very well. Some of them I know just met or just returned to knowing. I've been away for 11 years, as Holly said, in the cold of Michigan. But you know, as Hakeem Matabuyi would say, traveling is education. You know, I learned a lot out there. We have Alan King, Nana Malaya, Kelly Navy, Laini Mataka, Kenneth Carroll,
Who that, man? Who that?
and we'll probably have remarks from Jeff Kennedy, and also from Amiri Baraka's daughter, Maria Jones. I just want to say thank you again to Sankofa Books and also to the staff and everybody who helped make this event happen. As Kenneth Carroll will probably say, when he gets up, Amiri Baraka was very, very important to us as young poets.
Yeah.
I met him in 1988. Me and Kenneth Carroll went to a reading at Georgetown University. Ernesto Carnal, the poet priest from Nicaragua, was coming to the United States to read with Amiri Baraka.
Yeah.
And the State Department denied him a visa and he didn't get into the country.
Right.
So Baraka thought that night that it was extra important that he trashed the federal government, the United States government. Me and Kenneth Carroll was sitting on the front row. I remember turning in saying, you know, we probably are going to be on a list. Because, I mean, his vitriol that night was probably fiercer than ever. He's always been an opponent of imperialism, racism, white supremacy, patriarchy, all that. He always spoke out against these depraved ideas. But that night, he was really, really in his element. And then afterwards, we hung out with him like he was just our drinking buddy or something. It was like it never happened. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna bring up Jeff Kennedy, who said he had some remarks to make, brief remarks to make. Jeff is I consider him a friend and a scholar, and he said he had some important remarks to make about Amiri Baraka, and he pointed in what his work that he does. Jeff does great work on scientific racism, eugenics, education. So give Jeff a hand. Bring him on.
So I was always trained that when you get put in front of a mic, you gotta have something to say. 'Cause, you know, people that really got something to say, they don't get the mic much anyway. So, Amiri Baraka, I'm gonna start right here. I wrote a little poem that I'm gonna read for y'all. I think I'm gonna read the poem first. It took me about just a little time. Spend a little time today. Maybe about an hour writing up a little something that I thought would speak to sort of who Amiri Baraka was. Amiri. And one of the things I said was, Brian, you gotta call his daughter. That's my girl. You gotta call Maria Jones and get her here. You gotta let her know that we're celebrating her father. And not only in the spirit, but we're celebrating him in truth and justice. All that he meant for the world that we are going through right now. We're on the eve of possibly having a fascist, eugenicist rebellion into the White House again. How did that happen? 40-something, 40, whatever the percentage is of the country, want to put a man that got 34 felonies on him. Convictions. And this ain't even for weed. Right. Back in the White House. Think about that. The evangelicals.
I'm trying not to think about it.
Say, we want to make America great again.
White again.
Well, when was America that great for black folks? Was it when we was in chains? Was it, we ever had unemployment? We ever had Labor Day? We had no holidays at the beginning of the 20th century.
Eventually you're gonna have to read that poem, you know that. I want to be Steve Cannon.
Sticky Carol. You know always Carol. Sticky Carol. So let me read this little poem. I wrote this real quick. Y'all gotta forgive me. I went with my sister named Joy Jones to a poetry reading.
Joy Jones.
Read one time.
Yes.
And lost her mind and read a poem. A white woman looked at me and said, I give you $500 for that poem. I spent 15 minutes writing. I say what?
You need to write some more.
Yeah, it's time for me to write some more. So let me see if I can read this, because I can't see nothing out of these glasses. I don't know why I got these CBS joints on, but let's see. All right, let's try. The question who? Somebody wrote a poem about blowing up America. The great poem of Amiri Baraka asked the question, who blew up America? The pathological West Australian of England until 1789. The indentured service came to this country in chains. These white folks, along with the African indentured servants in chains. But who blew up America? Was it Francis Bacon or Ronald Reagan? Was it Charles Darwin or Francis Galton? Was it Madison Grant or Lawford Stoddard? Who blew up America? I don't know the answer. Maybe that's the question for another poet. My question is, who is blowing up America? Barack Obama or Donald Trump? The eugenic twins and their middle name, Genocide Joe. Who is blowing up America? Asked Frederick Douglass and W.E. Du Bois. Who is blowing up America? Asked Dr. Ernest Just and Dr. Charles Drew. Who is blowing up America? Asked the sisters Ida B. Wells and Zora Neale Hurston. Who is blowing up America? Asked Antonio Freeman or Dr. Montague Cobb. Blowing up the penal colony of pathological West Australia called America. Barack Obama, the condescending chess master, of kissing white ass while spewing in overseer duties of being condescending to black men. Who blowing up America? Muriel Bowser and Adrian Fenty, blue vein politics of classism, the light-skinned assassins of black hope. Blowing up, who is blowing up the penal colony of West Australia called America? Who's blowing up America? Netanyahu, protecting the country taken from the Palestinians, brothers and sisters that look just like me and you. Who is blowing up America? The West Australian pathological penal colony called America. Who blowing up America? The families practicing eugenics and scientific racism on themselves, blowing up the whole world, especially the pathological West Australia called America. The genociders who don't read and get a PhD and can't explain what scientific racism is, they blowing up America. Who blowing up America? The mother and father openly embracing genocide instead of environmental dependency on science. The who, the colonizers not sent to Australia, but the pathological people sent to America by way of Africa and the Caribbean. Who killed our freedom fighters that refused to participate in the pathological debasement of ourselves, the citizens from the United States, the pathological West Australians from the penal colony called America. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jeff. But another hand for Jeff Candy.
Some of y'all niggas give me a job too. I ain't gonna get one after that poem.
I will bring up next poet here. Baraka was a lot of things to me, but I think this poet here kind of embodies what he represented at a certain level, the love of African known her for a long time, Naomi Matata.
Great. Hey, that tall chair.
First, you said something about Obama, right?
He did, yeah.
I did.
No. Did you? In introducing me, did you mention Obama's
No.
name at all?
Not at all.
Just in your head.
Where it needed to be.
Yeah, not at all.
Alright. I actually do have a poem for him in a book,
Yeah.
but I want to tell you this. The first black poetry book that I got was of and about and by Baraka, given to me by the white record company that burned me and stole every dollar I made.
Wow.
Was that irony?
Ain't that something?
Or what? What I love so much about him is that for the first time I knew I could say anything
Right, right,
because it was mine.
right.
I was expressing myself, and he gave me permission to go anywhere I wanted to go with that.
That's right.
So I went there. The second thing was, how do I say this? Baraka was over here and academia was over there. And he was the only one I saw over there
Right,
who they couldn't keep out,
right.
no matter what.
Yeah.
He was too good on all levels
Right, right.
to keep out,
That's right.
and made me decide I ain't need to finish that last semester of school. I was in. Who that? Who beat the hell out of English? Sent it screaming and wailing back to the manor born. Who wrote everything you ever wanted to know about blacks for what you white to ask? Who sounds like Miles on paper? Who had his own House of Congress before the caucus even knew they were black? Who's like a pit bull when he gets his teeth into a piece of truth? Who gives blood transfusions to anemic poets? Who loves the journey so much he forgets to get paid for being an agent? Who's so scholarly he's gonna have to die and come back again just to answer his own damn questions? Who has lived so thoroughly for the people who live so half-assed for him? Who pays with his life force for the accuracy of his words? Who fillets the truth and bears it open for even the blind to see? Who is too tall to fit in most libraries? Who should we let kiss our babies' foreheads? Who is the father of scribes, the monster of metaphors, the Zorro of similes? Who else can boast of reaching adulthood without a hint of betrayal? Who? Who? I didn't think I would ever tell anybody what made me write this poem. I'm feeling loose tonight. You got it, Mama. It's called Not a Poet. I heard Miss Gorman and did this. I am not a poet. I'm a devout transcriber of spirits known and unknown, a recorder of freedom cries and freedom denied. I'm Black history's mouthpiece and rebellion's archivist, a Black debater of the tragically defeat. I am not a poet. I'm a licensed gun fresh out of rubber bullets, chock full of metaphors and similes. I'm a gargoyle overseeing the secret entrance to Black world. My thoughts are weapons of mass destruction. My words are drones searching for handkerchief heads. I am not a poet. I'm a midwife trying to keep our wombs from moonlighting as tombs. A journey agent bent on blazing a trail for souls that choose to throw down instead of singing the blues. I'm a pit bull monitoring our narrative like the CIA does the USA. A butcher cutting away at the fat so we can finally get down to the lean. I am not a poet full of obsolete, pedantic terms and sentiments that don't know a damn thing about freedom. I'm the real deal and not a dark copy of a Pulitzer wannabe. I'm a pressure cooker about to blow the roof off this map. A trained scorpion ninja determined to sting to death anything that preys on our people. I'm a poison dart aimed at every right intention painted black. I'm not a poet, churning out gutless images of Black smiles being stomped by white scowls. I'm the Madame Defarge of Black conspiracies, waiting for the chance to present my list of traitors to the board of who no longer needs to be here. I am an executioner, collecting the heads of colonizers to be exhibited in the International Museum of Who Did What to Whom. I am not a poet, selling cliches to the highest bidders, talking significance to appease death bringers. I'm a literary key, unlocking brain cells that have never seen the sun. A saber-toothed tigress, stalking grants and awards that don't include us. A steamroller about to turn cultural bandits into a forbidden street. I am an unstoppable idea brought into being by David Walker and Ella Baker. I've got ashes for days. I am not a poet who encourages belief in empty promises or alliances with melanin-deficient beings. I didn't come here to perform blowjobs or snow jobs. I'm a detour sign, blocking the way back to Oz and its fake-ass Emerald City. I'm a Mission Impossible, a recruiter for Garden's Whirlwind and Harriet's Promised Land. I'm not a solicitor of, why can't we all just get along? And other self-effacing philosophies. I am a weaponized version of everything we need to get free. And I didn't come here to litter the world with poetry. I came to kill. So I have to dig it back up so I don't know it by heart. If poetry ain't really writing, then poets ain't really people. This is for the book clubs that don't honor poetry. Well, give them all back then. That's how you feel. Give all the poems that have ever been written back to that collective pool of people who ain't really writers. The chance to the sun. Once you realize there was only one, give it back. All the hymns and songs of praise, give them back. All the declarations of love and fancy treaties to end wars, all the work songs, the we'll get by songs, that as long as I got my God songs, give them back. I don't think we gotta let you keep the Bible or the Quran, not after the way y'all just us. We want every sentence, verse, and song back. And for that matter, return the nursery rhymes too. Since children obviously don't need them, cut Dr. Seuss books and forget Sesame Street ever existed. I want it all back. All the eloquently crafted messages we did in longhand inscribed. But tongues so constricted in love, all they could do was sigh, must be returned unedited. All the lighthearted couplets that amused and often soothed your heart are hereby ordered to report back to their original creators. All the words you ever sang to the sometimes troubled but always passionate existence of the human spirit. All the tributes the people endlessly loved. All the lullabies that calm sleepy souls. All the blues you used to assuage your grief are officially null and void. Now go back to your poemless world and see how long you last. There's nothing to go through life with but sharp edges and drab utterances. And when your soul begins to wither from creativity's drought, maybe, if you're lucky, you'll find some stunted verbs and spade adjectives laying around somewhere to replenish yourself with. But don't you dare dollar poet until you're ready to pay us like you pay pop musicians, athletes, and politicians. You're lucky we ain't asking for reparations. That's right. We want to be paid, and not just in April, which you created to pacify us like you did those people in February. We want to be paid for being the guardians of your soul, the liberators of your caged emotions, the rope you hold on to when fleeing the darkness of your own ignorance. The only way we'll come back and transform your lives is if we get paid. So don't ever ask us to create or functionate without making us an offer. And when there's no money to negotiate, try a little tenderness, some R-E-S-P-E-C-T, and a goddamn sandwich.
We got coming up now, poet who's been doing great things here and in other cities, and he's also a rising filmmaker.
Yeah.
And him did a short documentary 2 years ago about my class at University of Maryland on housing and social justice. So try to track that thing down, but this is a great poet here, Alan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alan.
Thank you. So I'm gonna read, I'm gonna start with one of Baraka's poems, read one of my own, and then end with the Baraka poem. Incident by Amiri Baraka. He came back and shot. He shot him. When he came back, he shot, and he fell, stumbling past the shadow wood, down, shot, dying, dead to full halt. At the bottom, bleeding, shot dead. He died then. There after the fall, the speeding bullet tore his face and blood sprayed fine over the killer in the gray light. Pictures of the dead man are everywhere, and his spirit sucks up the light. But he died in darkness darker than his soul, and everything tumbled blindly with him dying down the stairs. We have no word on the killer, except he came back from somewhere to do what he did, and shot only once into his victim's stare, and left him quickly when the blood ran out. We know the killer was skillful, quick, and silent, and that the victim probably knew him. Other than that, aside from the caked sourness of the dead man's expression and the cool surprise in the fixture of his hands and fingers, we know nothing. So, this poem I'm about to read, I met Baraka in person, I think it's the second time. Was in 2006, and if I remember correctly, Kenny had brought him.
Yeah.
It was like a Writers Corps fundraiser at the Cap Center. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, after he read, it rained.
Yeah.
So that whole moment stayed with me. So I wrote this piece. And for my Star Wars fans, you may catch some of the references in this poem. In remembrance. Daylight glazed the boulevard at Capitol Center before poetry made it our typhon. The glad planet where weeping willows hang their chandeliers of waxy green light, where the emerald echo of sky ripples at the wind's cool urging. I remember the air seemed edible when the spicy sweet aroma wandered from Gladys Knight's chicken and waffles. You smiled watching Padawan wordsmith spar with the Council of First Knowledge, DJ Renegade and Laini Mataka, deflecting young lasers with their saber bright lines. Poets training in the Jedi Temple, in a city above the clouds, where the scent of mint plants was a fragrant finch whisking a sweet aromatic trail through this world built of words. If poetry is a kind of prayer, a longing for the soul starved for revelation, then your sermons were a daily admission of America's weaknesses. You master word dancer, conjurer of the black cadabra, Yoda with his glow stick drawn when the dark forces crew up like the Sith Empire. I'm grateful for your owl spirit that sees beyond the mask, even if it meant McGreevy snatching your state laureate position for declaring somebody blew up America. Who believed the Confederate flag need to be flying? Who talk about democracy and be lying? You declared it again on a Thursday in June, before the sun, sky spider spinning its lacework of light, vanished, and you were an owl on fire calling, who and who and who. Before the rain, before the dead mic, before the anxious feet scrambling to shelter. And the last poem is, this one is Kaba by Amiri Baraka.
Yeah.
A
closed window looks down on a dirty courtyard. And black people crawl across, or scream across, or walk across, defying physics in the stream of their will. Our world is full of sound. Our world is more lovely than anyone's, though we suffer and kill each other, and sometimes fail to walk the air. We are beautiful people with African imaginations, full of masks and dances and swelling chants, with African eyes and noses and arms, though we sprawl in gray chains in a place full of winters, when what we want is sun. We have been captured, and we labor to make our getaway into the ancient image, into a new correspondence with ourselves and our black family. We need magic, now we need the spells to raise up, return, destroy, and create. What will be the sacred word?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, just before we bring the next person up, this is another thing I remember when Alan was reading the poem about that is when we was in the writers' court, Kenny used to always send me on errands and stuff. So one day, he did. I mean, legal, he would call me up for legal advice. We would say, yeah, you should take some people's places. He did a lot of things. So one time he said, man, Baraka coming to town like 7 o'clock in the morning at the airport. Go pick him up. So of course I went to pick him up and got to the airport and he had fallen asleep on the plane. So he was the last person to come off. And then, we got in the car and everything. And I had all his books. And this is the only one I still have because all my friends who I loaned books to never gave them back. No, seriously. When Holly said this reading was going on, I looked for my book, they were all gone. Except for this one right here, and that's where Baraka signed the book in my car when I arrived back to the airport. But when we were going there, he said, come on, man, let's go to the Waffle House. So we go to the Waffle House, and it's really interesting. If you all know about poets and artists, it's so cool to just sit down and just talk to them. And you don't really talk about poetry. I mean, I'm not saying we didn't talk about poetry at all. What the main thing he was talking about was a